if I was sitting around and not doing anything, then it might be true, but it isn't true anymore, and I don't believe that about myself. So knowing that this is bogus, I deeply and completely accept myself, and I now take on the positive, empowering belief that I am enough, that I am in shape, that I'm going to learn how to take care of myself, and I'm going to work with Anil to take down my limiting beliefs, because he was able to do it with the help of his personal trainer, and now he is strong enough to be his own boss and a coach who's helping me right now. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me if you didn't feel better from doing that. Please let me know in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, share. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Did you feel better for doing that? Did you feel better for letting go of that anchor that isn't true? And you can use this technique to take down anything. You can use this technique to take down what somebody said. You can use this technique to take down a belief about a situation, a belief about an event, a belief about a trauma that you had. And all being fair, I understand that those life events are going to take more work to take down and to find the inner acceptance within yourself. I understand that. But this is a process that can help you to get started on that. And it's not just this process that's going to help you, it's also prayer that is going to help you. So for me, you know, I can see that this helped me very much. So now let's have a look. Is this a past belief that is no longer true with who you are today? So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to really think about this. Your identity right here and now, how you show up for yourself. Now, none of us are perfect. I'm not, you're not, and I totally understand that. We're all human beings. But let's think about who you are today. I know a lot of you watching this podcast are go-getters and you want more from yourself. So, is that belief really true with being a go-getter? I don't think so. I don't think so. I just think that it's a lack of knowledge. But that lack of knowledge can be supplemented by working with a guy like myself, working with me. I'm the guy that can get you from A to B without Z. Okay? I can get you from where you are to where you want to be without all of that nonsense in between, because I have learnt those lessons, overcome those lessons, and actually become stronger for it. And now that I've become stronger for it, I'm able to help so many people. Last week I was able to help my cousin who was in a difficult situation just like I was in the past, and I was able to call upon my experience and help him out. And this is what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. This is not true or congruent with who you are. Who you are. I know anybody watching this podcast right now loves and values themselves. I trust that and I know that in my heart, because you would not be tuning into this podcast if you didn't value yourself. In fact, you wouldn't even be thinking about fitness if this was not something that was burning towards you, that you really value your life, you value your health and fitness. And that's not me, saying anything about anyone else who doesn't. It's just for me saying, look, I know everybody here wants better from themselves, and here's how we're going to help you. So let's create a new identity for you. Now, what was the old identity that you carried about yourself, which was related to all of this fear that seemed to take over? Let's give it a name. Let's give it some nonsense name. Let's call it bogus. Let's call it nonsense, right? Let's call it idiot, right? We're going to divorce that belief of idiot. The belief of idiot was that. But let's create a new identity for you. My identity that I have is that I am the inner Rocky and the firewalker. And here's why. I became the firewalker when I went to Tony Robbins' event and I walked on fire. And what I can share from my heart, ladies and gentlemen, is that when I walked on fire, and I walked across that fire, I was trained up for 2 hours to get ready to walk on hot fire coals, which were 4 times the heat of something that would be in the oven. And I was scared. I was absolutely worried. I was like, am I going to burn up? Is my foot going to fall off? I was having all of these thoughts as Tony Robbins was coaching me, and I was in the crowd and I was with my friends and we were hyping ourselves up. We're breathing. And he kept incanting this belief that we can walk on fire. I can walk on fire. I went up there. I hesitated for a moment. I started, and then I just walked. I just walked across the fire, and it was over within 10 seconds. I didn't even feel a burn. And I hugged the lady that I saw on the other side of the fire walking coals. And let me tell you, in that moment, I lost all of my insecurity, all of my, I wouldn't say all of my insecurity, but I lost all of my irrational fear. That irrational fear that gets in the way, that's always trying to get you to not do something that you want to do. And reality of it is that we love ourselves when we follow through, and sometimes we just don't love ourselves when we don't, and we feel bad about ourselves. But when I walked on that fire, I had the security within myself to know that, you know what, there's a time that I will work, there's a time that I am resting, there's a time that I'm playing, but when I'm going to work, I'm going to achieve that goal. When I'm resting to pour good energy back into me. And when I'm playing, I'm doing something that I love, that fills me up. I'm spending time with family, I'm spending time with friends, I'm spending time with everybody that I love, I'm spending time with my mates, I'm going out to social events, I'm doing something positive. But I accept when I am working, I am going to achieve that goal one way or another. It doesn't matter if it takes 3 steps, it doesn't matter if it takes 10 steps, I will take it in my stride. And you see, the problem with fear is it is always trying to make you do it immediately. But you see, this is where you can turn fear on its head. Because ultimately nothing happens immediately, everything is a process, so why fear it? Why fear the process? Enjoy the process. When you enjoy that process of changing and becoming who you are now, you will become an even better person when you achieve the outcome. And this is what the Write Your Own Transformational Story course does. We get you to look at all of these mini goals as the process. So I'm not saying to you, Write Your Own Transformational Story course, you must be 170 pounds today after being 300 yesterday. That's not realistic. I'm saying let's get you to that mini goal first of dropping down from 300 to 290. Then let's get you from 290 to 260. Then let's get you from 260 to 240. And then let's get you from there. And we're going to keep on doing these mini goals to get you to believe in yourself, because every mini goal that you do is going to strengthen your belief that you can do it ultimately. Now let's use boxing as an example. Let's use me boxing as an example. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you've seen, I've been posting a lot of content around me boxing in the gym. And I've been posting so many clips of me jabbing and hooking and all these things. And I know you're thinking, well, what is this for? So let's break this down. So because of my own experiences with what I've been through, I was a little bit hesitant to go in there and start boxing in the gym. And there was a couple reasons. You know, I was hesitant to even start hitting the heavy bag. And actually this was irrational fear making me think that somebody would challenge me or judge me in a negative way or something like that. So I thought I would be inviting trouble to myself. But the reality of it is that the gym is actually a safe space for everybody to be their best and without fear of any competition. And you see, I compete to be 1% better than I was last week. As long as I'm getting 1% better than I was last week, that's all that matters. I do not care at all about anybody who's judging me. I don't even have 1 iota of attention for anybody who does that, because it just doesn't bother me now. I've been through so much, I've changed so many times that I can tell you that it is the biggest waste of energy. And this is what I'm relating it back to fear. If I did that from a place of fear, if I went in there from a place of fear, I'd be boxing to be aggressive. I'd be boxing to be like, next person who talks to me wrong, bam, bam, I'm gonna lay him out. That's not how I'm doing it. A lot of you think, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you may think that I'm in there and I'm angry. I'm actually not angry. I'm focused. I'm hitting that bag with precision. Jab, jab, hook. And I'm learning everything slowly from video tutorials of experts who've been in the boxing sport for many years, slowly taking it down. And I may now I'm probably going to enlist a trainer as well to master the art of boxing. But this is what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. If I carried that belief of fear, I wouldn't have even put on those gloves and started boxing. I would have worried about being imperfect and judgment and somebody's going to challenge me or I'm in danger. I let all that go. Where I sit right now, here and now, ladies and gentlemen, I reframed boxing. And here's how I reframed it. I compete to be 1% better each time I go in there and box. And I made gratitude and faith my strongest emotions by